What's up, football fans? Bruno here with the Football Channel, and in this video, I want to talk about everything that we've seen throughout the day in the Premier League, in particular, all the games. There are four games, and I watched all four of them, so I can talk about them. The first one was Everton Liverpool. I live here in the United States, so that game started really early here, around 6:30 in the morning. So it was kind of hard to wake up for that one. I kind of missed the beginning of the game, but I watched the rest, and it was a crazy, crazy game. It was a fantastic game. Liverpool going in front in the score sheet twice, and Everton coming from behind twice to tie the game. It was the game that I was anticipating the most this whole weekend, and I was anticipating these games a lot because we had the international break in the past weekend. Throughout the week, we didn't really get any action in club football, and even though the European Nations League was kind of interesting, it's not quite the same thing. I even did a video with a recap of the European Nations League action, but so if you haven't seen that video, you can check out that video. But I was really looking forward to the return of the Premier League, of La Liga, of the Serie A, and next week we're going to have the Champions League as well. So that's very exciting. But going back to what we saw today, Everton Liverpool was shaping up to be the biggest match of the day, of the weekend, perhaps even of the month, because it's the classical derby, Liverpool derby between Everton and Liverpool, and it's been so long since we've actually had a derby that means this much, and it's quite as exciting because Everton, let's be honest, Everton hasn't been very good. Some years they started with some hope that we're going to see a better Everton with some interesting signings and so on, but it never really panned out, even in the years in which they invested a considerable amount of money, which there's been a couple, but it never really panned out. This year, they kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting Everton to have such a facelift this year, especially because, well, maybe because we didn't really have your traditional summer transfer window and summer break, because really the season just ended. The last season just ended now in August, and it started right away in September again. So we didn't really have a separation between seasons as we usually do, and certainly not as much build up. We didn't really have an actual preseason. Um, so it was kind of a this is a very strange season, but Everton looks completely different this season in comparison to last season, and they've started so strong, winning all their games. And James Rodriguez looks absolutely fantastic, and he looked fantastic again today. And Calvert Lewin is one of England's biggest um, uh, you know like revelations, as like one of England's really interesting young players right now that can add something to the English national team in the upcoming Europa Nations League, but especially the European Championship and World Cup. So he's looking fantastic, scoring so many goals. He's like I believe he's the top scorer in the Premier League right now. I mean, he's looking absolutely fantastic. James Rodriguez playing very, very well, and the whole team looks like a new team. But Liverpool, they came to play, and remember, they just got trashed by Aston Villa, their worst performance since Klopp took over, and that was kind of hard to watch. I watched it with my friend who's a Liverpool fan, and it was kind of a hard to watch game because Liverpool was just so terrible, and Aston Villa was scoring goals right and left and right. Ollie Watkins, creating so much havoc in Liverpool's box. I mean, it was just hard to watch for a Liverpool fan or even for a Liverpool sympathizer. Um, so this was a very interesting game. Also, they were both coming into this game, Everton and Liverpool, with very good options to top the table to finish this match day or this weekend top of the table. So it was really good setup, and both teams playing good football. Obviously, Klopp's Liverpool, and now this fantastic Everton that we've gotten in the beginning of the season. And the game didn't disappoint. We saw a lot of goals. It was back and forth, But really, I mean, what it comes down to, and it's impossible to talk about anything else really. I've already made a video today about it, but I just don't understand why they would disallow Henderson's goal, eh, which should have been the 3-2, which should have given Liverpool the lead and the win and the 3 points. And it's just very hard to understand because every image so far that I've seen, he actually looks like he's in line with the defenders. He looks to me like he's onside. If there is an offside, it's by such a fraction, such a small margin that I just don't believe that really should be considered. I mean, they should really, now that we have VAR, if we're gonna give offsides with that slim of a margin, I mean, that should be in the rules. There should be very, very clear guidelines. But if not, I mean, unless we have very, very clear guidelines, you just don't overturn a decision. The decision was that it was a goal, it was going to stand, and the VAR came in and they said it was an offside. But really, the margin is so small that that just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think I just read that Liverpool is trying to fight that and get some sort of revision on that decision. Obviously, in football, that's not the norm. Usually, when the match is over, that's it. That's your permanent score. But I don't know. I think they should definitely look at the VAR rules, and this game should be an example of what not to do, to be honest, and how VAR should not operate. It was just an atrocious decision by the VAR team, and really even more impactful because it took away a lot from the game. That would have been, I mean, Everton's fans, I'm sure, are happy, but really, I mean, that was the storyline of the game would have been a lot more interesting with Liverpool getting that winner, scored by their captain on top of it in this very emotional derby. In almost in the last minute of the game, it was also a beautiful goal. I mean, it was a pretty good goal. So it was just a shame overall, and I'm still just kind of shocked and disappointed that they would overturn that goal because it really took away from what was really a very cool game. It would have been an instant classic, I think, if that goal had stood. So a little bit unfortunate, but overall it was a fantastic game. And Everton is number one now, and Liverpool is second in the league. So the tie wasn't terrible for both teams. They're still doing pretty well, but we're going to have to wait on tomorrow's results as well, especially for Aston Villa, to see who's going to top the table after the weekend is over. But anyways, the next game was also, I thought the Everton Liverpool game was good, but honestly, the Chelsea Southampton game ended up being even better. I mean, it was more exciting. And maybe I'm saying this because I was so disappointed by that final decision in the Everton Liverpool game, but Chelsea Southampton was actually more fun to watch, to be honest with you, because I thought it was going to be a boring game. Chelsea comes out, they're playing at home, a team that they're expected to beat Southampton, and Werner, a guy who I believe definitely has the capacity. We saw him at Leipzig. He was a goal scoring machine. He can score 20, 30 goals even in the Premier League, I believe. I mean, he's that good. I mean, he's a goal scoring machine. He's a guy that can, I mean, I think he can become really one of the best number nines in Europe, or even the best number nine in Europe. So, I mean, very good signing for Chelsea. Fantastic signing, actually, for the price. And Werner comes out and scores 2 goals. And that's it. It seems that the game's over. Usually it would have been over. I mean, in Mourinho's days, even in his second stint at Chelsea, if Chelsea is winning by 2 goals against Southampton after 30 minutes in the game, I mean, the game's over. But not with this Chelsea. Um, Frank Lampard is doing a good job, but this Chelsea is looking fantastic when they're attacking. Fantastic. Even though they have a lot of new players in attack. Werner, Havertz, who scored his first goal, by the way, with Chelsea. Ziyech, all these new signings, they look really good. Uh, Even though they haven't really had a lot of time to get used to the Premier League and get used to play together, I mean, they just look very good right now. They just in attack they look fantastic. They look like a side that costs 200, 300 million pounds to make or more, and which is what they are. But they look that good, and their signings this season was fantastic. I mean, they had not a lot of clubs actually had a good transfer window. Chelsea had a fantastic transfer window, bringing in, especially in attack with Werner, Ziyech, and especially Havertz. I mean, that's a fantastic trio they brought in, and then you add to that Chilwell and Mendy, fantastic. But I mean, in defense, and speaking of Mendy, I don't know why he didn't play again. But Kappa again giving away a goal, and this time it wasn't just his fault; it was Zuma's fault as well. And I mean, Southampton gets back at the game. They scored two goals, and one of the goals is just this atrocious back pass by Zuma, which was like something out of a horror movie. And then Kepa, he had the chance to get to the ball, and he fumbled again. And honestly, I don't know why Mendy was not playing. I mean, I think it must be something related to the coronavirus quarantine or something like that. I'm not sure because if not, I can't really understand. Because Kepa, he really needs to see a sports psychologist. I mean, he's just looking very, very, very shaky, and you can't have that from a goalkeeper. So basically, long story short, Southampton gets back into the game. It's 2-2, and Chelsea right away they score another goal. They make it 3-2. Harvard's first game for first goal for Chelsea. Beautiful attacking play, and then come on, that should be it, right? That should be over. That should have been over. But no, I mean, Chelsea's looking so terrible in defense, and they just let Southampton get back into the game. And it wasn't even surprising when they scored the 3-3. I think it was less than 10 minutes from the end from the end of the game. But I mean, it just looked kind of like it almost looked like Southampton was gonna score. And I mean, Chelsea. The story really is Chelsea is really not looking very good in defense, but they are looking very good in offense. So I think there is still hope for them in a season that Liverpool is looking a lot shakier than previous seasons, and I'm not even going to speak about Manchester City and Manchester United. Arsenal and Tottenham have their own problems. Everton, I think, looks very good, but I think they're more of a top four team rather than a Premier League winning team. So I still have some hope for Chelsea. I think Chelsea's looking good. If they can figure out their defensive problems and having Mendy play instead of Kepa is a big one. I think they have a lot of potential, but they really need to start winning games when they're ahead. All right, moving on. Manchester City, Arsenal. And this on paper was just as big as the Everton Liverpool game. Depending on how you look at it, maybe even bigger. I mean, Manchester City, Arsenal, that is in any season, that's going to be a great game. And the Premier League this season, we've had it's been very entertaining for the neutrals like myself because they forgot how to defend in the Premier League. It seems like they're playing FIFA because you can't really defend properly. You can only attack. You can only go forward, and they're going forward very well. Not just Chelsea. I mean, most teams they're attacking very well, scoring a lot of goals. But defensively, they look just terrible. Manchester City, Arsenal, they're both two teams that have looked very well offensively as well, not so well defensively. But actually, we didn't see as many goals as I thought we would. It ended 1-0. Manchester City scored. Raheem Sterling scored for Manchester City, and that was kind of it. Honestly, out of the four games, this was perhaps on paper the most exciting, or the second one, or the second most exciting one after the Everton Liverpool game. But it ended up being the most boring. It wasn't a great game. The two teams kind of canceled each other out, and it was at times it was kind of a bore fest because of the whole tiki taka thing. Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta, they come from the Spanish school of playing. Tiki-taka obviously was born in Spain, and Pep Guardiola was really one of the biggest proponents of the style earlier on, and one of really the creators of modern tiki-taka, at least at the highest level. So with his Barcelona team. So, but there was too much possession. They played too much for possession, and really at times they looked a little bit like a paperless tiger. or sorry, a toothless tiger, like a paper tiger. Um, they, Manchester City, they got the job done, but there were a lot of passes, too many passes. I think they weren't really um, very they really lacked verticality. They didn't really look dangerous at times. And obviously, they have the quality to score. A guy like Sterling is always a danger in some sense. But there are just too many back passes and lateral passes, and I just really didn't see the flair that you kind of need in order to win matches consistently, like Liverpool had last season, for example. And Arsenal, they played well, but it's always kind of the same story with Arsenal. They play well against top opposition, and they usually don't get the results. So hopefully, for Arsenal fans, that will change with Mikel Arteta, but he's not doing a terrible job. I always say this about Arsenal, but they often don't get the results. And if you look at the Premier League table, I mean, they're not looking that great. But then finally, we got to Newcastle, Manchester United, and I didn't expect it to be a fantastic game. And I believe 2 minutes in, 1 minute in, or 2 minutes in, Luke Shaw scores an own goal. And it's like, oh boy, this is going to be Tottenham again. Playing away against Newcastle, which is a tough team. I mean, that is a tough game for Manchester United, especially after having the extended international break, after having lost 6-1 at home against Tottenham. Solskjaer's job in jeopardy. So things were looking very dire for Manchester United after that goal. Also, Cavani not being able to start or to even participate because of the whole coronavirus quarantine situation. Telles was on the bench still. He probably hasn't completely gotten used to the team, to the tactical aspect of it, and everything. But maybe he should have started because Luke Shaw had a dismal game, and especially that initial own goal. I mean, that was terrible. That was the worst thing that could have happened to Manchester United. But then again, they reacted very, very well. They got back into the game. They had a goal that was called off by the VAR, but then they scored. They scored the equalizer. They kept trying, and they were the best team on the pitch. Newcastle had their chances, but Manchester United looked good. And in the second half, they really looked very good. They started playing better and better, and it looked kind of difficult. It was looking like it was going to maybe end as 1-1, but then they really picked up the pace, and they had some bad luck. They had the the goal that was called off. That they had the Bruno Fernandes misses a penalty, which he never does in the second half, and it seemed like it might end 1-1. But then they start scoring goals. Bruno Fernandes scores a beautiful goal, and they go on to win 4-1, a very convincing win, which is a little bit deceiving because it was a tough game for them, and three of the four goals only came at the end of the game. So it was a difficult test for Manchester United, but they came out on top. They passed the test. So Shire, Manchester United, and look, a lot of people are very bearish on Manchester United, but I don't agree. I think they have the capacity to do well this season. Obviously, when you have results like they had against Tottenham, and you lose 1-6 at home, I mean, you look at this Manchester United, it's like what happened, but I mean, I think they do have potential. At least the team has potential. I don't know about Solskjaer. I like the guy a lot. I don't know how good he is as a manager. But I really like him. I used to love him as a player. He was the super sub, and he looks like a really nice guy. He hasn't really done badly last year as manager. But I don't know. They start the season really badly. I just hope they pick up the pace, and I really want to see Manchester United do well. They're like really a fallen giant, and I would like to see a great Manchester United again. I think it would be nice for European football to have like great like Manchester United doing well in Europe and in England again. And I think they have some exciting players. They signed Cavani, but they have Greenwood, they have Martial, they have Pogba, they have Bruno Fernandes, and they have a great team. I mean, they have a lot of talent. And of course, yeah, people are going to say they need a center back. They need a new midfielder, and Cavani's old. Yeah, all those things are kind of true. Or a right winger. Yeah, all those things are kind of true, but they still have a lot of talent and some considerable youth there. Rashford looked really good today, so I think there's a lot of potential in that team. Yes, they do need two or three really good signings in order to complete the team, and they need to look more robust. I don't know if Solskjaer is ultimately the man that is going to build a very cohesive unit that kind of looks dominant, like the Manchester United of old. I don't know if he has that capacity, but I hope he does. And I do think that Manchester United has a lot of players that are very interesting. I think they have a lot of potential, and I hope they start playing better. Today was a good day for them, coming back from losing 1-0 and conceding a terrible own goal in the first 2 minutes of the game to winning 4-1. So I think that's very good news for Manchester United, especially that Tottenham game. So that's it. That's it for my sort of review or recap of the Premier League Super Saturday, as they're calling it. But it was a fantastic day for the Premier League, and also I don't want to talk too much about it because if not, you guys are probably going to get bored. The video is going to get too long. But we did see some pretty good games in La Liga, in the Serie A, in the Bundesliga, even in the Liga and the Portuguese league. So lots of great games. I might make a different video about that. I don't know, but definitely the Premier League was really the standout in European football today. I mean, we had four very good games, very interesting games, and these are kind of my thoughts. If you manage to find this video and watch it, this is still a pretty small channel. Please let me know in the comments what you think. If you think I can improve on something, if you agree with my analysis, just let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you so much. Have a good one.